Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to Directors and Donuts. This is a monthly live stream we do where we get to interview different filmmakers from our community. And today we are blessed with the one and only Teck. And we're gonna hear a little bit about owning the present, and just we're gonna take some lessons from her journey and soak up a lot of her hard-earned wisdom. So we'll get this kicked off. You want to say hello to everybody for a second? Or?
Hello. How's everybody doing today? That's just amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
This has been an honor, so I'm excited.
Very excited to chat with you. So your main focus at this point is directing. That's what you've been pouring into of late. But talk about just kind of your early days. You're fond of saying filmmaking found you. How did all that develop, and how did you start getting into the filmmaking world?
Goodness, that is a lot. That was like 3-part question in
It
one.
It was loaded.
Gosh, where do I even begin? I mean, I feel like to get into where I am now, I kind of have to share a little bit of my backstory. So I was born in Malaysia, and I was given away at birth. And when I was 8 years old, I was brought to the States. So I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, kind of working in I guess I should click this.
You're in control. You got the remote now.
Yeah, I am. Okay, yeah. So I was born in Malaysia, came to the States when I was 8, and I started working in my parents' restaurant ever since I was 8 years old till I was 18. And then also being in and out of foster care. And so it was just a lot of survival, I think, in my childhood. And then I ran away when I was 18 years old, and soon was adopted by a really sweet family who took me in. And that was the first time anyone has ever asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was 18, I was just like, wait, I thought I am grown up. No one has ever asked me this question. And so I just started wondering, what do I want to do? So I didn't really get to try a lot of things growing up because I was working so much. And so I just ended up trying everything. I tried dance, I tried jiu-jitsu, martial arts, and stumbled my way into filmmaking. I didn't even know filmmaking was a process.
Really?
You know, I know I've seen films and stuff, but I always witness it from a childlike eyes and just always oh, this is amazing. How did they do that? But I guess I always had the process. I always loved the process of things. Even from cooking, fried rice or anything, painting, I always think of the end results, and I always have that process kind of analyzed it before I even began.
Yeah.
And I remember directing and acting in this thing that I first started. It was a testimonial video of my life, because I was just kind of tired of people asking me, where'd you come from?
Here's my video.
Yeah, and so that was a way of healing. And I remember on my 19th birthday, I had a red carpet event, and invited all my friends to watch my video that I just created with friends.
Wow. So within the span of 1 year, you went from, I don't know anything about filmmaking, I don't know what I want to do, to being on the red carpet of your own film that you directed and starred in.
Yes. Well, it was a lot smaller. It was more so a birthday party, a red carpet event thing. But that was the first time I got affirmation for my work. And I was, growing up, I was always trying to please either my biological mother or, whoever was a guardian of mine. But then that was the first time, friends and family came together and just be like, that was low-key good. You should really get into that. And I remember my dad, he's not a very emotional guy, my adopted father. And so he goes and writes me a birthday card and said, P.S., I think you should do film. You got it.
Oh, man.
And that meant a lot for me, getting that from a parental figure, because I guess I was seeking that a lot. But then, I was like, what does this path even look like? I knew nothing about it, so I did this whole thing by myself, thinking that it was great, but now looking back, we cringe a little of our first ever work.
Always cringing at the early work.
Yes. And so Yeah, and so I started working and helping a ton of friends. Like Property Brothers, National Geographic, ESPN, like even like a Mexican fight night where I was holding Roy Mysterio's leotard. Like it was like, wait, I get to pay to just do this stuff?
Yeah.
I know, like I get paid to do this stuff.
And how did you get into those early gigs? Like how did the doors open there?
I really think from that one video, and then
Really?
people it went crazy, I think. Not viral, but like it went crazy as like, church would share it.
Yeah.
And then like, from then like opportunities came.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to direct like a Tennessee Kids Belong like commercial for the foster kids here in town. And then doors started opening and I started saying yes, and I worked hard. And then I remember studios in town was like emailing me to intern for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're getting requests to be an intern. That's actually a huge deal.
And then I don't know. I think it was just more so like I was so intrigued by the process and so in awe by this like process of creating and telling stories and also like impacting people's life and giving them a different perspective on things. And so that really like got me obsessed.
Yeah.
Like I think, and then that obsession went into, okay, so now what is the plan? I've played sports all growing up, and I was like, okay, if filmmaking is a sport, what are my practices? What are my training? What's my homework? And then I started breaking it down with like, okay, you got a PA. Yep. So I PA'd the crap out of every single gig in town. Then I was the key PA, and then I was second ADing like quickly. And then I was like, okay, well, I don't want to be here forever.
Yeah.
And I remember like sitting down, writing out all the position on a production. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I need to get paid to do each of these at least 3 times before I can figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life, and also before I can like direct, So
you didn't want to skip any steps. You wanted to make sure you knew every single position on set, like at least somewhat adequately. I mean, getting paid 3 times is actually a pretty high bar for every single tier.
Yeah, and it was not easy. Gripping, it's hard, especially when you're a small packed dynamite and there's a big, it's just, but I never wanted extra help, so I just like carry it anyway. And like one time we were in like a glass warehouse. I was carrying like 8 stingers just like this. But I don't know, I think those like really, really like hard moments really shape who I am today, and I have so much empathy for each position.
Exactly.
And
you know what they go through now.
Yeah, and like AD goes through the most turmoil because everybody is like waiting on them.
Right.
And then like producing, they're trying to make all these worlds come together. And then it's like, and then with the art director, like you see them make this beautiful set, but do you understand tomorrow they're going to be going through a lot of returns, And then also
all for some DP to come in and shoot it wide open, and all of it to just turn to mush in the background. So,
yes. Yeah. And then like camera, like all of it. I just wanted a full understanding of everything. I think one, it was my curiosity, and then another, it was me seeking a better understanding of what it takes to make a successful product. And I just like was obsessed, and 300 sets later, I think I know a thing or two.
Wow.
And I loved it, and I think what I love most about it is just the people. And for me, I've always kind of been like an outcast, because even going through high school, I was going through something that nobody really knew about, and I just kind of stick to myself. But then something about being on a film set, all of these different people from different background and different upbringing and different lifestyle coming together for the same goal. And I think that's where I feel very much at home, because we're all just putting our differences aside and coming together to get the job done. And I love that so much. And also, like, filmmaking, especially I think in Nashville, like there's a lot of great people here, and it's like a family of its own.
Yes.
So it's like really cool to just, grow up with everybody.
Yeah. And you do get to come together and contribute to something much larger than yourself. And you even expressed just in your directing that you always want to ask, what do you think? And hand off a lot of the expertise to, now knowing what these people bring to the table, the things that they've had to learn and the vision they have, the things they bring to each project. Can you talk a little bit about just how you interact with people on set now, and how and the role of preparation and how you kind of honor their craft? I know you have some thoughts on that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And thank you so much for setting me up. This is, I get on like a excited journey with just talking. That's perfect. Yeah, I think preparation is so important when it comes to like directing, because when you're so prepared, it really allows you to be intentional when you're on set. Because for me, something that I love doing is just visualize my day, visualize my shot, visualize my edits. And like being able to see that in my head a few times, then I can go to my DP and say, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking about. Yeah. And then they can also bring their expertise to the table, because as I'm only focusing on directing, my skill set for the other position is gonna be where they are while my directing knowledge grows. Yep. And so like hiring people that are better than me, it's always incredible, because they can bring such spiciness to the production. And also like when you're so prepared mentally, like it really. Is there music? I think there is music. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I was just trying to stay in the moment here, but there is some music. You're good. But yeah, like being uber prepared, like, I think that goes a really long way, because when you walk onto set and you know exactly what needs to be done, it gives you that confidence, and then that confidence exude on all of your crew member too, because they're like, oh, she's got it, or he's got it. Then we got it too. And I think people are walking around with mirrors. Yeah. Like whatever, if you're having a bad day, they'll kind of match that. Yeah. And so as a director, you kind of have to be the cheerleader of like this optimistic, like, hey, you're doing so great. Yeah. Like, and then they're going to try to reflect that back to you. Pace of the leader, pace of the team. Yeah. And a great way that I love to, prepare is shot lists. Shot list. And I think like shot list can look a whole different type of way. It can be from chicken scratch to like pulling frames from another project, or even, like hiring a storyboard artist. Yeah, I'm team chicken scratch, I think. I am too, and I think I got some of my. I was about to say, I think we have some examples, because you had a pretty ambitious project that you, I think, poured quite a bit of just your creative energy, but also sort of self-funded. Yeah. That we're gonna take a look at. But the role of shot listing here is kind of on display, as you knew exactly where you wanted to go, and in the spirit of owning the present, I think you expressed in our preparation that it allowed you to actually really be reactive in the moment to what the creative was that you were trying to bring to life. So we want to check this out. Oh, yeah. And then we'll see how shot listing played a pretty key role here. I don't think I'm supposed to talk, but that was such a cool opening shot. Yeah. No, I think you can break in with some commentary here. Yeah. And after I've gone through the ringer from everything from grip to art to everything, like I think, is this on still? Yeah, it's on. Okay. And going through the ringer of everything, I was like, okay, I really have to start I need to figure out how to direct. And when you're starting out, like opportunities are not just going to be handed to you. You kind of have to create your own opportunity. And so with this one, I had the crazy idea, and one of my producing partner at that time, like, we're just like, you got this. Let's go and do this. And we, invested in it. I've at that time poured all of my savings into this project, living out of my friend's basement and going after it. I was like, if nobody's gonna invest in me, like, I have to be the first to do that, to really, really open up that door for myself. And we flew in this amazing artist, Daphna, from Colorado, and we just went for it. I remember I was shortlisting on the plane because I was just flying back from another project. I was shortlisting on the plane, and I was drawing, like, I was just like, okay, I think this is how I kind of wanted to go. And the craziest thing was we only had money for 1 day of filming. And, we wanted to hire the best. And one of my promise to myself is to pay my people. And so I was just like, okay, we have 1 day with all of these amazing crew who's ready and signed up to do this. And the game plan is shoot all 3 music video in 1 day. And it was a trilogy. They're sweeter, bitter, and sour. And so I was like, I have no idea if this is even possible. This is my first time directing. But I got it. Like, I've already seen everything in the workflow of everything in my head.
Yep.
And I already knew that I'm hiring people that I've worked under.
Yep.
So I know how they navigate and how they work.
Yep.
And so, we flew in an amazing DP and got to work. He legit landed and went straight to set, and we directed all 3 in like 1 day. It was crazy.
That's
and
wild.
We only had 1 location change too. So it was making things happen out of nothing, I think. And
that's amazing.
And like, for me, I always have been a dreamer. I love visualizing, and I say crazy things sometimes, like, I want a house in the middle of the sky. and when you say that, people are gonna be like, huh? What? You want a house in the middle of the sky? And I think, like, I just knew it was possible because I was able to think it. And that's something that's, like, has really, stuck by me in my way of thinking, is that, like, if you can seriously think of something, believe it, and then just go and achieve it.
Yeah, there's a way to do it.
Yeah, there really is. And obviously I'm thinking from like, as a filmmaker too.
Yeah.
So my knowledge of filmmaking has allowed, like, and also doing all of those different jobs has allowed me to believe what is possible.
Yep.
And I'm not an astronaut, so I'm not gonna have astronaut thoughts. I'm a filmmaker, so I have filmmaking thoughts. So when the thought came of, I want a house in the middle of the sky, I knew it was possible. Mm-hmm. And we have an amazing VFX artist, Abraham. He's one of my great friends. And it was one of his first big thing too. And so it was one of those things, just like, I believe in you. And he said, I believe in you too. And we just went for it. And it works. I think it works.
It works beautifully.
I'm really proud of it. And I'm really proud of my entire crew. And the crew really supported me and believed in me. And that's when I just, like, was like, I want to direct. And I don't know, it was just like, it was such a beautiful feeling at the end of the day when I got all the shots that I've shortlisted and more. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that's so key about preparation, because when you're so prepared, it really allows you to own the present when you're on set, because you're not thinking of, oh, maybe I should do this, and you're not very much like troubleshooting either, because you already see it. And then once you get what you need, and this goes with client work too, like, you get what you need, then you go with your friends and get what you want. Yeah. And then you play a little bit, and then if something that I love doing is, like, stealing some great shots with my DP of, like, oh my gosh, like, we may not use this, but you never know. And then you just go, and it really gives you time to play with your crew, and like, the spontaneity is just so fun, I think, all around.
And sometimes your best stuff can come from that, from the unplanned, and almost from the accidental at times. Yeah.
And I don't know, I just, like, after directing these and then editing them with my team, it just I don't know, it's like the yes. It's like the universe saying yes.
Yep.
Like it's like God like saying like, yes, you got this.
Like you did your thing today.
Yeah.
This is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah, and then I think these videos really got some great feedback too, because you know it's not on a field somewhere in Nashville. The countless music videos that I worked on, we were just on some cow farms, which there's nothing wrong with cow farms, but man,
Shouts
cow
out to the
farm
cow
on a
farms.
February, ooh, it's cold. But
It's already cold this morning. I've had enough. I don't want to be outside anymore.
yeah, and I think like another thing is that like when I was young and starting out, and I think when you don't have a lot of knowledge, you have like of film, I think a way to really get in is to really give your time.
Yeah.
And I think like one of the things that I just always have remembered was like when you're young, you have time, energy, but no money, right? But when you're an adult, you have some money, you have no time, and then you have some energy. You have good energy. But then when you're old, you have money, no energy, no time, really. And so when you're young and starting out, there's no, like, you should be cashing in your time and your energy, because it's gonna cost somebody so much more money to teach you something you don't know than to hire somebody who can come in and do your job and better, you know? And so I think to anybody that's starting out, get in it and just say yes and offer up your time and energy, because that opens up to connections, that opens up to like possible work, and that opens up to you finding out what you like to do.
Because it'd be easy to kind of get in your own way when you're young and say, okay, well, I don't have the expertise to bring to this set. What am I even doing here? But I think there is something beautiful to just saying, all right, look, I may not know what I'm doing today, but I'm going to bring everything I can to it. And I'm going to bring my positivity, my energy.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's kind of what you have done and what you respect in someone who's young and starting out as well.
And I think like being always learning is such a huge like characteristic trait when you are a young filmmaker. Like always be learning and seeking for extra knowledge, because in this industry you get paid for your knowledge or skill. And yes, talent can get you through the door, but hard work is what allows you to stay, right?
It's good.
And so
It's true.
where's notepads? Anybody taking notes out here? And yeah, like hard work will never go unnoticed. You know, even if you're on your knees tilling and planting in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
Like even if you are planting in the middle of winter and you're then discouraged that nothing is sprouting or harvesting like in January and February, but then like you turn your head, you go work and find more knowledge and, you know, work on yourself and help other people on their projects. Next thing you know, like there's a huge blossom that just happens to, you know, like because of the hard work you put in so far along, you know.
And it's easy not to notice that sometimes, because you just keep working, but then all of a sudden you'll look back and you're like, oh, all those things that I was trying to do, all those things that I was hoping for, they actually did kind of come to fruition, even though it just feels like when those deserts are there, like it feels like you're going to be in it forever.
And I think in those moments, like when either if you are burnt out or even like in a drought season, find new ways to be uncomfortable. Put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, because that's how you grow. Go after the things that you think is unachievable, because like how will you ever know? You know, move to that big city, or like go after a crazy idea, or go to a camping trip and write your script, you know, like just go for it. And I think something that really also helps is just be really gracious with yourself and not having so much pressure of like where you need to be now.
Yeah.
You know, like I think as humans, we're always like, oh, it'd be great if we have this, that, and these opportunities. But truly, like you have what it takes today to go after what you want. And then like another thing that's like really helpful is doing check-ins with yourself. Like, where was I 10 years ago and where am I today? I just did this recently, and I was just like, 10 years ago, I was a little timid girl in DFACS, Department of Family and Child Services, about to go into foster care. And now I'm, like at Director's Donut at Gear 7, one of the best studio in town, sharing my story.
Just up here sipping your OJ and dropping knowledge.
And my OJ, I'm so grateful for this OJ.
Well, yeah, and I want to take a second to look at this storyboard or the shot list, but I also wanted to give you a chance to speak to those early days when you're putting yourself out there. Can you speak a little bit to the role that failure plays in that?
Yeah. So yeah, again, like, the chicken scratch and the shot list, and really, like, it really, even if you have it on your head, shot listing it comes into play more so for your team, being able to communicate your idea and have it to where you can just point to it, to where your crew is like, okay, yeah, I know what she wants. And then also, like, giving them the opportunity to make it better, and it's important because, like, one, when you're on set, like, to be present with your crew and talent, that's very important. And then also, like, being able to know that you get everything you need for what the project is. And when you get commercial work, the clients are involved, and sometimes they have a certain way that they want things to be promoted, and so also pleasing the clients, and getting everything that you need to get that project done, but then also allowing room for creating with your crew. And then, like, taking risk, like, I wanted a house in the middle of the sky, and going in, a wasp going in through the door and transition down to earth. And, there's crazy ideas that are all possible because of movie magic and the process of it all, because it's so beautiful. Was there other question again?
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, I loaded up a little too much there. But I know you had some thoughts on just when you're going for it in those early days, there are just going to be a lot of times, like you said, you almost cringe at your early work.
Yeah.
And so if you want to just speak to the role of failure and how you deal with that, how you kind of dance with that, and how you see failure, what your perspective is on it.
Yeah. I don't think there's such things as failure. I think there's just life lessons, like lessons in life that just makes you better. And then the more you fail when you're a lot younger, the better, because that's how you're like, okay, I'm not doing that anymore, or I know how to do that better. When an energy of that sort comes my way, I know how to deal with that. Like, and fail as much as you can. Like, when you're young, having the energy and time and no money, just go for it. Like, go and fail. Be out there and go after whatever you think your craziest idea is, because after what you consider is failure may be somebody's inspiration.
Yeah.
And you never, like, how cool it is to just be able to look back at your gallery of work from where you were to where you are now. So just be creating. And I think sometimes, like, it's hard because you're like, oh, well, I don't have that camera, or, I don't have the tools, or I don't have the connections. But in reality, like, only fools blames their tools, and you just gotta go out there and just create. We have iPhone nowadays. We have all the things that are resources in our fingertips, and YouTube to learn, and, like, we're not utilizing it enough, So just go out there and get your life lessons, fill that cup. The failure is a deleted word.
That's really good. Well, I really appreciate that perspective. I think I'll give you a chance to wrap up if there's anything else you didn't mention, but I think we're going to turn it over to some Q&A here, so we can hear a little bit from the audience here in person and online.
Oh my goodness.
Hi,
online. I think to wrap it up, like, owning the present, it doesn't matter what background you come from or what kind of cards you were dealt at birth, Like, I think if you truly believe that this is for you and filmmaking and you love the process, no matter what it is. If you get the call to be a grip tomorrow, you love that process. If you get the call to direct tomorrow, you get to love that process. And I think that being able to own the present is just owning who you are and bringing yourself to the surface, and being able to communicate your ideas with your team, allowing them to, bring stuff to the surface too.
Mm-hmm.
And just owning the present and who you are and bringing that to the table, because you have things to offer, you know?
Yeah.
And also being really truthful with yourself too, with what you do have to offer.
Yeah.
You know, you may not have all the knowledge in the world, but you have these skill set. So then bring that to the table.
Yep.
You know?
And I love that, just the perspective that hard work won't go unnoticed. Even in the absence of maybe expertise, you can bring everything you do have to whatever opportunity you get. That's really great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Teck. That was fantastic. I'm fired up.
Okay. What
We're
questions
turning it
do
over
we
to
have?
Q&A now. So we have an audience online who I think will have some submissions from, but we'll start here. Adam, over here, we'll bring you the mic if you have a question for Teck.
Hi, Teck.
Hello.
So I am not in the film industry, but I just think that you are one of the most inspirational people out there. So I want to know what kinds of things you do to improve yourself, like whether it's books or podcasts or anything like that.
It's a great question.
Yeah, and thank you. The ways that I do to improve myself is really always be learning, and always have a curiosity of how things work. Soon I'm going to be directing something that I get to work with portrait drawing artists, and I've always been interested in drawing, and I'm decent I think at drawing. So I was just like, okay, how do I fully understand what that person go through? And so I went to an event where there's a live drawing event, and there's like a model and everything. And I would try to draw my way, right? And then in that moment, it wasn't good enough because everybody else around me was incredible. They've been doing that for a lot of their life, and they've been practicing. And so to improve myself is just always be practicing, always be learning, and always have this curiosity of things. And one of the things that I love doing is just, the books that I read, Save the Cat is always a great one. And also directing books and listening to interviews of how directors navigate their process. Because there's no right path to anything that you want in life. There's really not.
It's true.
And I think creating that for yourself and what feels good, what sticks, and learn. Always just send yourself out there and teach and learn and figure out what inspires you.
I think you've talked about, you even just took jujitsu lessons just because you wanted to try it. You don't know if you're going to do anything with it, but it's uncomfortable and it's new and you want to learn it.
Yeah, and what's so cool about that is just now I know the lingo. If I have a action scene or a martial arts scene, if I direct the next Cobra Kai.
It's just a matter of time.
And I'm out here oh yeah, put that person in the neck, a triangle choke. And, I have that knowledge and terminology now. And also with dance, with music videos, there's so much choreography. And I threw myself in dance. I think in Nashville, I remember it was $100 to get unlimited classes. I went to, I was my goal was going to 50 classes this month. Because then each class is only $2, right?
That's amazing.
But then I was only able to make it to 48. I've cried. I've loved myself even more. I was able to, get frustrated, but then feel really good, and then going through the emotion of a true dancer. And then I knew that I wanted to maximize my time there, and so learning as much as I can, and also a lot of them became really great friends to where if I ever want to do something with dancing, like they're right there. And yeah, just send yourself out there and learn and submerge yourself in whatever like makes you curious.
I mean, we've all heard of method acting, but I think that's method directing. I didn't know that was a thing. We have any more out here in the audience? We do.
So, getting into film and that whole side, I'm sure there were lulls and times where you didn't have, where there wasn't as much work as you wanted. What did you kind of do emotionally to get through those times where you're like, oh my gosh, when is my next gig gonna happen? Like, I'm freaking out. I don't even know if I can pay the bills.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And there are definitely lows as a creative filmmaker. And I remember there being a really dry season, and I'm sure a lot of people endure that, with COVID and everything. And one of the, in those lows time, think of it as an opportunity to grow for yourself. Because I feel like as a filmmaker, you're always making things for somebody else or creating content for a client. Take those time to really, I don't know, it re-spark the juices, because the lowest that I've ever been was 6 months of no work. And I was like, oh my gosh. And that was my transitioning from being a director, stop doing a lot more of the freelancing, gripping, and all that stuff, to more so focusing on directing. And that was a huge risk, because the work wasn't coming my way all the way, because nobody has seen that I can make something and create a product yet for a client. And so I took those time to learn as much as I can, and then also developing new skills and knowledge. And again, in this industry, you get paid for your skill and knowledge. And also really working hard. And yeah, I remember I was living out of a tiny house. Uh-huh. It was a real, true tiny house on an 8x11 trailer. And I kept my expenses super low. And that has allowed me to not have to do other things that may not be towards my directorial goals, And sometimes it can be uncomfortable and you feel really lonely. Directing is a very lonely journey, because there's not a community of all directors, there's really isn't. And so being able to believe in yourself and see it for yourself, it's oh yeah, I'm gonna make it. And all it does is just, I have to just put in the time. Nothing is gonna come right away. Yeah. So putting in that time, putting in that hard work, and planting those seeds, even if it's in the middle of winter, because you never know, something's gonna come around. You get an email out of the blue, and there's your next check, There's your next opportunity. And then also being really, really good with your people. And that's one thing that has gotten me the farthest, is serving my people. When I was gripping, I served my gaffer. When I was art assisting, I served my art director. And when it came to my time to be the director, they served me. And it really all comes in circle. And then it's serving your people well, and being there fully, because people are going to do the same for you.
That's beautiful. I love that. We do have some online questions as well.
Okay.
This one is a really good question. How do you deal with difficult personalities or negativity on set?
Oh my. Goodness. Well, as much as I protect the space and let it be positive, sometimes there are people that storms in too and bring their, late nights to the morning.
Yes, no matter how much you prepare.
and it's enrooted. And I think what really helps change their energy is to really, be gracious, be patient, and also and once they see how you lead as the director, people kind of have to match that, Yeah. And if anything, you protect it so much that they can have their bad moments, just not near me, you know, or on set. They'll go out, do their smoke break or whatever, and come back. And I think being able to communicate with a lot of different people is very, like, a thing that I'm really grateful for from my childhood, of having to work in the restaurant from 8 till I was 18. And, you know, looking back, like, yes, my childhood was stolen, but I'm so grateful because I got to deal with so many different people on a daily basis, from angry customers to really delightful regulars.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, like, to answer your question of dealing with, what was it?
Just negativity.
Negativity.
Which the restaurant industry will also teach you in spades.
Yeah, and really, like, I don't know, like, expecting your crew to be their best because you are bringing your best to the table. That's
really good.
And I think as a director, you can exude that. You can exude that positivity, be that cheerleader. Because sometimes all they need is somebody. Everybody in life wants to be seen and heard, you know? And if you take that time to go, hey, what's your name? Like, how's your day? And that might just crack everything, and then they just decide to just play ball with you.
Yeah.
You know? Not everybody's just gonna, like, a lot of people in life, what was it? It takes a lot more energy to frown than to smile.
Right.
And so, like, you know, people want to play. Sometimes they're just a little bit harder. But
that's good.
Yeah, I've had a lot of experiences, I think, where I come in and I'm so bubbly and so, like, excited because I already know what I'm going in today with. But sometimes people may not. Yeah. And they bring their insecurity to the surface. Yeah. And, you know, so it's definitely just like being a leader and, you know, projecting really positive energy. And even if they are negative, like, and you feel that too, just, you know, pull it together and just go for it, you know?
That's great. I love that you talked about bringing some grace to it too. Because you just never know what people are walking through.
We're all humans. Nobody know what, you know, everybody is going through. And again, people are coming from different sort of background to set. And yeah, like, it is hard to be so good all the time. You know, it really is. But if you just have that grace and know that you are there to support them in whatever they need and to serve them. The best leaders in life serve. And so if you serve your people well, they will do the same for you too.
That's good. All right, I think we'll wrap it up with this one. But what is your dream client or artist to work with?
Oh, let's see. Gosh. Dream client. Honestly, I don't know. I've stopped being boy crazy ever since Paul Walker passed away from Fast and Furious. But I really would love to do I really would love to do an action film. I think that would be really fun. And I think whatever talent, I can work with anybody. Yeah. And so I'm not really crazy about, any really crazy.
It's more about the type of project you want to do.
It's more about the type of project and also the people that I get to create with.
Yeah.
I care so much more about the crew. Yeah. Sometimes oh my gosh, we've been through it. Let's go. And this is our time to shine. Here's a big, great opportunity for us to go after something crazy and then bring that idea to life. That's my dream. It's just create with my friends with a huge budget.
I love the flip of the dream client or dream artist being flipped to a dream crew.
Dream crew and really dream budget.
I don't care who we're working with. We're working with each other.
Yes.
That's great.
And with filmmaking, it can really take you places. And if you want to do it alone, you can go really fast. But I think if you do it together, you can go really, really far. And that's another thing that I just live by. It's just my people. Yeah.
I don't think we can add anything more to that. That's perfect.
Yeah, and I think one last thing is just navigate your life as a director with a really grateful heart is very, very it will get you through some of the hardest time. Being grateful, you don't just have to do this, you get to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Teck, thank you so much for being with us this morning. I got a ton out of it, and I know everybody else did. So let's give her a round of applause here. Feel free to hang out for a little bit, and if you would like to take a walk down the hallway here, we have an Unreal Engine scene up on our LED volume if you'd like to check that out. But yeah, that'll wrap it up. Thank you again, Teck.
Thank you guys so much.